This presentation will show you the basics of how to write an essay. My name is Laura Hand, and I am an embedded tutor in the Reading and Writing Center. The reading material. The key to writing a great essay is thoroughly reading the required texts. You must read and annotate the required text so that you understand what the text is about. If you struggle with reading or retaining what you have read, here are a few suggestions that may help you. Take notes as you read. This will help you when you begin to plan your essay. If you are easily distracted or tend to lose focus while reading, write a brief summary at the end of every paragraph, page, or chapter. Try to find an audiobook if you struggle to read the text on your own. This will help you stay on track. The assignment sheet. The next important step in writing a great essay is thoroughly reading the assignment sheet. I suggest that you print the assignment sheet. Read over the assignment several times. Take notes, highlight important steps or requirements, and write down any questions that you might have. Taking notes and writing down questions is very helpful because you can then meet with either a tutor or the instructor to review your notes and questions. You can't write an essay if you do not understand what the essay is about or how it should be written. Here is the assignment sheet for Essay 3. There are 5 important elements with which you need to be familiar and understand in order to write Essay 3. These parts are the introduction, the topic, the expectations, the research guidelines, and the basic requirements. The next several slides will break each of these key elements down and explain them. The introduction. Professor Garza provides you with some of the background information you need in order to understand the purpose of the essay. Use this information to ground yourself in the assignment. It tells you what you need to know in order to begin your essay. Not all instructors are as thorough as Professor Garza, so take advantage of all of the information he gives you. For essay number 3, you are examining Mark Lamont Hill's Nobody, in which he argues that to be a nobody is to be vulnerable. In the most basic sense, all of us are vulnerable. To be human is to be susceptible to misfortune, violence, illness, and death. The role of the government, however, is to offer forms of protection that enhance our lives and shield our bodies from the foreseeable and preventable dangers. Unfortunately, for many citizens, particularly those marked as poor, black, brown, immigrant, queer, or trans, state power has only increased their vulnerability, making their lives more rather than less unsafe. The topic. The topic is the most important piece of information you need to complete your essay. It is crucial to your success that you understand what is being asked of you. Professor Garza is very specific when constructing topics for an essay, so use this to your advantage. If you do not understand what the topic is asking you to do, you need to speak up and ask for help. The topic for Essay 3 is as follows. Select one of the cases highlighted by Hill, such as Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Katherine Johnston, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, or Sandra Bland, and research the circumstances surrounding that case. You will then need to contextualize the significance of their story in the current state of American society. So explain why this case is still relevant today. Develop an argument in which you explain how Americans can learn from the case that you are examining. In your argument, explain to your reader what America should do in order to rectify the vulnerability of so many Americans like those that Hill writes about. So you are going to come up with a solution to help prevent cases like this in the future. You will also need to explain how that progress will benefit the society as a whole. Use academic research along with Nobody to support your argument. The expectations. The expectations tell you exactly what elements you must include in your essay. Follow these expectations like an outline. Professor Garza tells you exactly what he expects from you in your essay, which makes writing easier. If you do not meet these expectations, you will not receive a passing grade. Your essay must begin with an introduction that contains a clearly defined, purpose-driven, and arguable thesis. The introduction should clearly identify any supporting main ideas that will support your thesis. Your body paragraph should contain minor claims in the form of topic sentences that advance the controlling ideas and that support the thesis. All ideas should be supported with evidence in the form of direct quotations from nobody and your additional sources. Each example of quoted material must be supported with critical thinking that clearly explains the significance of the chosen quotation as it relates to your idea. Do not begin or end your paragraphs with quotations. In your conclusion, make a final statement that clearly identifies what you have shown in your essay is important. The research requirements. This section tells you what you need to know about finding credible research for your essay. Using sources from locations other than what your instructor has approved will result in a lower grade on your essay. Remember that you have free access to all of the databases you need through the Reedley College Library website. Your additional sources must come from the following: articles located on EBSCOhost or from any of the similar databases found through the library website, or you may use major newspaper articles, magazines, or books. Sources that do not meet this criteria may be used but will not be counted towards the minimum required sources. Not including the minimum required number of sources will result in a failing grade. The basic requirements. This section tells you what you need to know about the formatting, length, and number of sources you need to earn a passing grade. This section is very important. Not following any one of these requirements could be the difference between passing and failing the essay. Your essay must be written in an academic third-person point of view. You must have an arguable thesis statement that establishes the purpose of the essay. You should have topic sentences in each of your body paragraphs that define a minor claim to organize your essay. You should provide evidence in the form of direct quotations from your primary source and your outside research articles. You should use critical thinking to evaluate and explain how these sources support your thesis. Your entire essay needs to be properly formatted according to the MLA guidelines. You will use quotations that are documented appropriately as per the MLA guidelines. Demonstrate a good use of sentence structure, writing, and mechanics, meaning you need to proofread your essay thoroughly. Your works cited citations should be formatted according to the MLA guidelines. You should have an original title that speaks to your thesis. The entire essay should be typed, double-spaced, Times New Roman 12-point font. Your whole essay should be formatted according to the MLA guidelines, meaning you have the appropriate heading information, margins, page numbers, etc. Your essay must be a minimum of 5 full pages. This means to the bottom of page 5. You must have a minimum of 6 different sources, one of which will be your primary text nobody, and you will need to include an annotated bibliography in place of a basic works cited page. Here is an example of one way to structure your essay. You will begin with an introduction that introduces the primary text, gives context to your essay, and briefly introduces the case. Your thesis statement should provide a statement, your claim or argument, and a consequence or solution. Your first body paragraph will introduce the case according to Hill. This will have one source. Body paragraphs 2 and 3 should introduce the beginning and middle of the case. How did this case start? Who is involved? What happened? Use one source per paragraph. Body paragraphs 4 and 5 should represent the middle and the end of the case. What happened? Was there an investigation? Was there a trial? Was there a resolution? Use one source per paragraph. Body paragraph 6 will answer your claim with a solution. You should use one source for this paragraph. Finish with a conclusion where you reflect on your argument, the case, and your solution. End with a final statement that shows the importance of what you have written. Here is another possible way to structure this essay. Again, begin with an introduction in which you introduce your primary text, provide context, and briefly introduce the case. Your introduction will contain your thesis, which will show your claim or argument and the consequence or solution. In body paragraph 1, introduce the case according to Hill. Use one source that shows how did this case start. For body paragraphs 2 and 3 should represent the beginning of the case. Pick specific contributing factors in this case and then give a solution within the paragraph. Use two sources. By picking specific contributing factors, I mean that you should focus on certain elements of the case. If one of the contributing factors of your case was, say, police brutality, you would have one paragraph that focuses on police brutality. And then within that paragraph, you would use a source to back up your claim that police brutality was one of the contributing factors in this case, and then you would also give a solution on how we could stop or prevent police brutality in the future. Paragraphs 4 and 5 should represent roughly the middle of the case. Again, pick specific contributing factors in the case and give solutions. Use two sources. Body paragraph 6 should represent roughly the end of the case. Pick a specific contributing factor in the case and give a solution. Use one source. Your conclusion should be a reflection of your argument, the case, and your solutions. End with a final statement that shows the importance of what you have written. Now let's look at the individual elements of your essay by beginning with writing a thesis. The thesis statement is the most important element of your essay. It indicates the main idea or claim of your essay and should include these key pieces: the topic, your claim or argument, and then consequences or solutions. Your thesis should be based on an arguable statement. Facts can be used in the topic portion of your thesis, but should not be a part of your claim or argument. Your thesis should be a clear, concise sentence at the end of your introduction. For this example, let's consider the topic from Essay 2, which was to establish a definition of what it means to be Orwellian, and then use that definition to explain to your reader why these elements of American society should be considered Orwellian, and argue why Orwell's book should be read as a warning about American society today. Now let's identify the three things we need to form our thesis. The topic, which is Orwell and Orwellian elements from the novel found in society today. The claim, 1984 and Orwellian elements should be viewed as a warning. The consequences, what will happen if they are ignored? The so what. Bonus, offer a solution to these issues. Now let's craft a very basic thesis. Orwell's novel should be read as a warning because of Orwellian elements 1, 2, and 3 that are occurring in today's society, which will lead to consequences if society does not solution. So you can see this is a very basic thesis structure in which I have my main claim, which is that the novel should be read as a warning. I've provided topics in the form of the Orwellian elements I will be examining in my essay. I have given a consequence of what will happen if these elements continue to go unanswered, and then as a bonus, at the end of my thesis, I will suggest a solution to stop these consequences. Now, this is not the only way to write a thesis, but it is one of the most focused ways to write a thesis by building on the three main concepts you need to include to make your argument. Writing your topic sentences. The topic sentence is used to establish minor claims in each paragraph. Your topic sentence should always be connected to or answer your thesis. Here are a few suggestions. Use some of the key words or phrases from your thesis in your topic sentences to maintain focus. Have transitional words or phrases in your topic sentence to move smoothly from one paragraph to the next. Based on the sample thesis from the previous slides, let's work on some topic sentences. The thesis was Orwell's novel should be read as a warning because of Orwellian elements 1, 2, and 3 that are occurring in today's society, which will lead to consequences if society does not solution. So one of the things I suggest when crafting your topic sentences is that you use key elements from your thesis in your topic sentence to provide organization and develop your ideas. So for body paragraph 1, I have the topic sentence, in the novel, Orwell writes about Orwellian element 1 and how it caused consequences. Readers in today's society should be concerned because Orwellian element 1 is beginning to cause consequences. So you can see that I've pulled several key pieces from my thesis into my topic sentence to create organization and focus in my body paragraph. Now, this is not the only way to write a topic sentence. However, following a similar formula will help you maintain focus and create an organized essay. So moving on to body paragraph 2, you'll see that I have a transitional phrase at the beginning of my topic sentence, and then I continue to pull key elements from my thesis into my topic sentence. In addition to Orwellian element 1, Orwell also wrote about Orwellian element 2 and its effects on Oceania. If Orwellian element 2 is left unchecked, the people in America will face consequences. So as you can see, the structure of my sentence for body paragraph 2 is slightly different from body paragraph 1. It's always a good idea to vary your sentence structure so that your essay does not feel repetitive. As for body paragraph 3, I have a final transition as well as my final elements of my thesis. Finally, Orwell depicted a future where Orwellian element 3 causes the people of Oceania to suffer consequences, and unfortunately, Orwellian element 3 is creating similar consequences in today's society. So again, my sentence structure is slightly different, so I'm not being repetitive, and I've introduced the third element that I'm going to talk about in this body paragraph, as well as what it caused in the novel and what it's causing in today's society. So you can see that all three of the sample topic sentences that I created answer my thesis, they maintain focus, and they move the essay forward with my argument that there should be concern and that the novel should be read as a warning. Integrating sources. Your sources should clearly represent and support your thesis. Your sources should also clearly support the minor claim of the paragraph in which you are using that source. You should always introduce your sources. It is a good practice to introduce the author by their full name the first time you mention them. Then, after that, you can just use their last name when referring to them again. It is also a good practice to give the title of the source as part of the signal phrase. Giving the author's credentials as part of your signal phrase is also something that is useful to your reader. Here are some examples of how to integrate your sources using various signal phrases. In the article such and such by so-and-so, who is a writer at the blah blah blah, it was explained that your direct quotation that supports your claim here, and then followed by a page number. Second, in the novel, Orwell discusses topic, your direct quotation here from the primary text, followed by the page number. Another example of how to do a signal phrase is simply Orwell wrote, and then your direct quotation followed by the page number. Finally, you can introduce the author, their credentials, and the topic all in a signal phrase as follows. So-and-so, who is a professor at college blank, wrote about topic in their article, What's Its Name? They said that, your direct quotation here from your research article, followed by the page number if there is one. So these are just very, very basic signal phrases that you could use to introduce your source, the author of that source, as well as their credentials prior to your direct quotation. You never want to just drop direct quotations into your paragraphs without adequately introducing them first. You also don't want to use quotations at the beginning of your paragraph or at the very end of your paragraph. You always want to give a little bit of introduction to each of your sources as well as following up your source with your critical thinking. Your final statement. Your conclusion should reflect what you wrote in your essay, but it needs to be more than just a summary. Your conclusion should not have direct quotations in it. Your conclusion should also make a final statement. Your final statement should go beyond the thesis, and you should show why your essay was important. Your final statement should echo your thesis. I hope that this presentation will help you in the future when constructing your essay. If you have any questions, please contact me either through email or the discussion board, and I would be happy to help you with your essay. Thank you for watching, and good luck on essay number 3.